Hello everyone, in today's video we are going to be talking about Epic Games and them being apparently financially sound now. We are on PC Gamer again today. This article is written by Tyler Wilde and it will be linked down below if you'd like to read along. The title is Tim Sweeney says Epic Games is now financially sound after last year's layoff and Bandcamp fumble. We spent the last year rebuilding and recently executing solidly on all fronts, says the CEO. Now, Epic Games, or Epic as a company, has been it's been really weird because they're making so much money with Fortnite, so they can take a loss pretty hard and still be okay. But at some point, it has to there's definitely a breaking point, and I feel like they're at the breaking point at this point because Fortnite makes a ton of money, but you can only take so much loss until shareholders or the board or insert any company thing needs to start saying, okay, well, let's calm it down here. So, like so many tech companies, Epic grew aggressively in the start of 2020 and then suddenly declared that it had been made a mistake. The Fortnite and Unreal Engine maker cut over 800 jobs last year and maimed the sold-off Bandcamp, a website it had purchased just a year earlier. For a while now, we've been spending way more money than we earn, investing in the next evolution of Epic and growing Fortnite as a metaverse-inspired ecosystem for creators, Epic CEO Tim Sweeney said at the time. I had long been optimistic that we could power through this transition without layoffs, but in retrospect, I see that was unrealistic. I mean, you probably could have, but you didn't want to take a pay cut. So that was the big thing. I want the next evolution of Epic. I wonder if he's talking about Unreal Engine 5 or I mean that's already been out for a while. I'm not sure what he's talking about. The Fortnite stuff they have been doing creating an ecosystem for the Fortnite stuff. I don't know if I'd call it a metaverse, but that's just a buzzword now. That's just a nothing word nowadays. So I'm not entirely sure if I'd call it a metaverse, but it's definitely an ecosystem for it's almost like it's like Roblox now basically. But at an event for Unreal Engine developers today, however, Sweetie declared that the ship has been righted. We spent the last year rebuilding and really executing solidly on all fronts, said the CEO. I'm happy to tell you now that the company is financially sound and that Fortnite and Epic Games Store have hit new records in concurrency and success. Interesting. I'm surprised that the Epic Games Store has. Because the Epic Games Store, I feel like, is still bleeding money. And I don't know if I necessarily believe them that they say that it is a success. I believe Fortnite can be obviously Fortnite is a success. I'm surprised it's hit a peak or that had new records, because Fortnite's records are already so vast. Fortnite's new peak achieved over the holidays was 110 million monthly active users, Sweeney said, and the Epic Games Store has also reached a new peak with 70 million monthly active users in September, according to the GM's dev Allison. Honestly, that's surprising that 70 million people are using the Epic. I wonder what games they gave out in September, if that means anything, because they give free games every week. So I wonder if they gave really good games and people just installed it or reopened it to update it to get those games. Because monthly active users doesn't actually mean people were buying things on the Epic Games Store, which is a very sneaky way to show use. Because I wonder if active users means paying customers or just people using the service. Because I feel like most people don't actually buy games on Epic. They take the free games on Epic and then play Fortnite or play those free games. Or unless it's exclusive to Epic, which most people just wait for the Steam release because most people don't buy games on Epic. Also, during today's Unreal Fest presentation, Epic announced a new initiative to get game developers onto Epic Games Store, but it's one gamers should have a less problem with than the usual timed exclusive deals. Okay. Epic already takes no Unreal Engine royalty fees on Unreal Engine games purchased through the Epic Games Store, but even for sales made off Epic Games Store, such as on Steam, you'll now reduce the Unreal Engine royalties from 5% to 3.5% so long as the developer also releases the game on Epic Games Store on day one. That's actually really smart, and I'm surprised they haven't already done that. I'm surprised that's just not a policy. because so many games are made on the Unreal Engine nowadays. Like I feel like I see more people make games on Unreal than I do on Unity sometimes. Like Unity is still a beast when it comes to like just outward output when it comes because of indie games and stuff like that. But even Unreal is catching up to that thing, especially considering how Unity has its own problems when it comes to the CEO and their policies. So they're definitely catching up. So that's actually a really smart idea. And one thing is to get the one thing you need to do is get game makers, so developers, onto your side. And more money for them is always going to be good for them, good for the game developers. So they'll always be like, okay, well now people will. There's a question of, oh, do I make this game in Unreal? And if people don't know Unreal, it's like, oh, is it worth to learn Unreal to make games on it instead of insert other game engine like Unity, Godot, or anything else? Those are the three ones that I know mainly, but there are a lot of game engines, to be fair. That applies to any platform where both the games and Epic Game Store exist. For lots of games, that'll just be PC, but Epic now also has a mobile version of Epic Game Store in certain regions. It continues to fight with Apple and Google over its desire to sell mobile games without paying their fees. That is true. They are doing that. The PC exclusivity deals aren't completely over. Epic still offers 100% revenue share for 6 months when games launch exclusively on Epic Game Store, but when even Ubisoft finally giving up on exclusivity, going back to day one Steam releases, it does feel like the Epic exclusive era of PC gaming is fading into the past. Which honestly, I'm glad. That era was a bad era because all it meant was less people played the games because people would just not buy them because they don't want to use the Epic Game Store and just wait for the Steam release, and more than likely they just forget about the game, and when it comes on Steam they just don't buy it because they forgot about it. Now, I'm not one of those people that says Steam should have a monopoly, because Steam basically has a fundamental monopoly on the PC game market right now. Like, the other stores I can think of other than the Epic Game Store that could feasibly be competition is itch.io and GOG, and both of those are nowhere near competition. They are competition in the fact that they are stores that sell video games, online stores that sell video games, but they're not competition for Steam. Like, no one realistically thinks they can push around like they do Steam. You know, Steam beats them in every single metric, in every single way. So Epic is really the only people with the amount of money they could put into something to actually make it reasonably competition. And the problem is that I feel like the Epic store isn't good enough. They're the only reason people are using it because of the free games, and that's basically it. I would be totally fine with the Epic Game Store existing if it just gave a better product. Like if it was just a competitive marketplace for video games, I'd be totally fine with it. I think there should be competitors to Steam to push Steam to actually be better, because that's just how you should do it. But the main problem is that it wasn't a better thing. Like, it's like how every game company started doing their own launchers, and now slowly but surely every single one is going back to Steam because no one buys their games because their launchers suck. And that's the biggest problem, is that it was bad when came out. When Steam was pretty bad when it came out, but now that Steam has like 10 years on everyone else. So like their product is being compared to something that's already been bug fixed. And there's so many good things about Steam that people love and people are attached to it, that you need to do that. You need to go through the rough things. And the problem is video game publishers, or the video game people, like for instance EA, they don't have the push. Like, they can't get third-party developers to go put their games on Origin. It's only the EA games. It's only the Ubisoft games on Uplay, you know? So like it's like those people, like the only other one could be said was BattleNet, but that one also was very old, and now they're on Steam as well too. So like they're not even competing anymore. Honestly, I don't even know why BattleNet still exists. Probably just because of the namesake. So I'm glad that Epic is finally doing this, because the exclusivity stuff just wasn't working. but getting game developers just to publish on the store just by the better profit splits with royalty fees and just saying, hey, if you put our game on the Epic Game Store and you're using the Unreal Engine, which we created, you have to give us less money. Now, to be fair, they're technically giving them some money anyway because of the store thing, but I think that's much more reasonable because, like, okay, you're taking, I'm pretty sure it's, what is the profit split on Epic Game Store? Isn't it like 90-10 or something like that? It's pretty good. It's really good for the developers. So like they're still technically taking more than 5%, but you're also going to be on Steam, right? So like it's I think it's a lot better in a lot of ways. Technically, per one game sale, they're taking a little bit more percentage because I think I think it's 10%, but before you'd have to be exclusively on the Epic Game Store, and so that's probably just less sales overall. And to be fair, sometimes you'd get a good upfront check from Epic, but sometimes that doesn't enough. So I think it's just better overall. And I've said this before, and I'm gonna say it again. I want there to be competition for Steam, and I do think the Epic Game Store can be that competition, but it just needs to be a better product or comparative. I don't know the word. It just needs to be a reasonable product because for the longest time it was a bad product that people were forced to use. So now hopefully it'll become a better product that people will not only use for free games in Fortnite. But I guess that's only time will tell. We'll have to see if developers are okay with this split. I feel like it'd be good, but I am not a game developer. I don't really know the ins and outs of these pricing stuff or if this is enough for them to release on both without a big check to be exclusive. We'll see. We'll see. Thank you all for watching today's video. If you'd like to subscribe, I appreciate it. Go over to my YouTube, subscribe, hit that like button, comment, and comment what you think. I personally think that having competition is good for Steam, but Epic isn't right there now. Hopefully this will slowly make them into actual competition, so Steam can have to adapt. But thank you all for watching. If you'd like to follow me on other places, I have a Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, and a Steam. No, not a Steam. And a TikTok. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in another video. Goodbye, everyone.